my scrappy friends, this is Hannah, and I hope you guys are having a great week. It is hump day, so we are almost to the weekend. Almost, guys. We're almost there. So I'm going to be using that sketch that I showed you super quick at the beginning. That is from Creative Scrappers. That's sketch number 4 by Tessa Ann Watt. I think that's how you say her name. I am using this paper from Studio Calico Wonderlust collection, and I love the matte print. So, but I really picked it out because it matches with the colors of my photo. So I sprinkled it with Mr. Huey's Splash, and I'm also going to be using that vellum. And that piece is from the Ocean Melodies line by, oh, who makes that? I know who makes it too, but I can't think of it. Anyway, it's their new summer collection. So I am going to be using, oh, I have no idea what I was doing. Oh, I know what I was doing. I was trying to edit and do a layout at the same time. Don't do that, ladies or gentlemen, my scrappy friends. Don't do that. It's not a good idea. It took me like almost 2 hours to get this layout done. So if this is a little bit longer, I am very sorry. Also, my kids were interrupting me too. So they just didn't want to go to bed. It's like they know when mommy's scrapping and wants them to go to bed, they just want to have a play party. No, I'll miss it one day. I know I will. I'll miss the giggling and the happiness when my house is all quiet, but sometimes I just want them to go to bed. So here we are. I'm cutting that paper from, let's see, that is, I want to say that is Amy Tangerine paper with the check or the pluses, and I use a brick paper by Maggie Holmes. That's from the original, and I'm sorry that there's a little glare on my photograph a little bit. That's kind of annoying. I have some bright lamps to try to help combat with the darkness. That paper there is by Bo Bunny, I believe. So, no. It's a summer line. It's like Wave Catcher or something. Man, I'm just like not on my game tonight. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I had to cough and I didn't want to do it on. So I turned my mic off. So I sprayed that with a mist that I sort of made. No, I did make it. I didn't sort of make it. I took some of my gelatos and I mixed it in with the water. So it is very shimmery. And I was kind of wanting that shimmer to like go through. It didn't work as well as I wanted it to. So really, the sketch is very boxy, and so I was wanting to do something a little bit different, so it has a little bit of a grid style, and then I'm going to add some stuff to it, to 2 of the corners, just to balance it out. So I want to put this piece of vellum on because it reminds me of the colors in my picture. The picture is taken on the 1st, me and my husband and the kids, we all went to the Dole Plantation. Every once in a while we like to just go and head over there and just walk around, and they have a maze there, like a pineapple maze. Well, it's not really pineapple. Well, it's shaped like a pineapple, but it has like I want to say, I think most of it's hibiscus flowers, bushes that they use to make all the maze tunnels, however you say it, to make the maze. And it's shaped like a pineapple. Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to put that card that we got from the maze. I'll have to do another one. Because this is not in the actual plantation. But my picture is we were driving, well, we were turning around. But we were driving past the pineapple fields, and I love those pineapple fields. Whenever you drive past, it always smells so sweet. Well, mostly. It smells sweet, and you can smell the pineapple, and this day it was a little rainy, which is very normal for that area. It's in the middle of the island, so the Dole Plantation is smack dab in the middle of the island, and it gets lots of rain because there's some mountains there. So it's nice and green over there, and which is why everything looks all nice and green. And it is kind of hard to tell that it looks like pineapples, but it looks like a field. And with the clouds that day, it just looked beautiful. So I took a picture because even though I live there, I still am like a tourist. So, you know, hey, if you can't enjoy where you live, then I don't know. I mean, I gotta enjoy it because I know we probably won't be here forever. I doubt we'll be here forever. So I am making a tag now that I'm just yamming on and on. I am making a tag. I have a whole bunch of stencil templates that I've made from other pieces, either of ephemera that I've had or just other tags or other tabs and whatnot. And so I took like cardstock or whatever, and I just cut the shape. And so if I need a tag of a certain size, because I don't have a die cut, I just use those. It works pretty well. I mean, it's a little bit annoying because it takes extra work because you have to fussy cut it and stuff. But, you know, it still looks nice. And then I get more homemade embellishments, and that is the part that I like about doing that. So I spray this with that mist. Also, that is Studio Calico That Away collection. So I'm going to use this card from one of the summer collections from last year. Or the year before, because I think it says 2012 on it. And I liked the tealy color of the lines on it, but I didn't want the balloon because that has nothing to do with my picture. And I obviously didn't want the date because that's 2012 or 2013, whatever date. So I put this tag there over top to hide the balloon. And then I decided, oh yeah, I have these little, you know, hole thingies. So I put that on there. I mean, I could have left it without it, but sometimes it's nice to have that hole. If I had a hole punch, I would have punched it out too, but I didn't. So sometimes I'll stick a string through it, which I don't do this time. So here I'm pretty much the reason why I don't have everything on my background right now is I'm waiting for it to kind of dry. So I accidentally put a couple of bigger splatters on the background because I splattered it first. So I have these flowers left over from a Scraptastic kit. I believe it was like May. Oh. Fast forward. I edited it because I had to go get everything, so I just put it. So I'm going to paint these. So I whip out the watercolors, and I also use some of my gessos on these, or not gessos, gelatos on it. So I paint them because these flowers look so much like pineapple. I mean, the minute I seen them, I'm like, hey, it's a pineapple. So, and colored, I think it looks a lot like a pineapple. You can't even tell that it's a flower. So that was a good way to use something that I had and make it different. So I really liked how those turned out, and I used some gold on it just to give it a little bit of a shimmer, but it didn't give it too much of a shimmer, I will say that, but it did darken it up a little bit to be a little bit more like pineapple, that golden color that pineapple gets. So But yes, me and the family, we went to the maze that day. But sometimes we go, they also have a train, and there's a whole bunch of stuff there to do. A few things and lots of stuff, but don't buy too much stuff there. It's super expensive, but the food's good. Like, they have some meals and stuff, but we didn't get food there. We just got nuts. They have macadamia nuts that they roast with like sugar and stuff. Not very super healthy, except for the nut part, but they were good. So every once in a while you got to have a little bit of a treat. So that was my treat for the week. So here I'm just adding that gold to make my pineapple more golden. I really like the way those turned out. They turned out so nice. So here my paper's all dry. I just had a couple of splatters that were really big. And I really want to be able to see this paper, because even though it's a cityscape, it looks a lot like a field map. Like, growing up in the country, when you look at the map and you see all the fields in the towns, at least in the town that I lived in, they're not nice squares like out in the Midwest or whatever. You know, once you go out towards the West, I find that the farms and the fields are a little bit more uniform, but where I grew up in New York, they're not. They're like all over the place. So it very much reminded me of that. So I thought it was a perfect background. And so here I'm cutting some circles, a bigger circle since I don't have a punch that size, and some tabs. So you get to see me fussy cut, which I hate doing. But you know, in the end, no one can tell that if you screw up just a little bit. I mean, I find that if you just go really slow and take your time, it doesn't look half bad. And you add a little ink on it to edge it. I mean, I guess if you're really bad at cutting, and it is nice to just pick out a pack of ephemera that's already cut, or use a die cut machine if you haven't. So hopefully at some point soon I will be able to get that. But I know that for Christmas, I believe I'm getting a new camera. At first I think I was wanting to get a die cut machine, but I don't know. I kind of would like a new camera with a really nice stand. You guys should see my stand. It is very interesting. I'll have to put a picture up one time or something, or show you guys. It's crazy. Because I'm near a window, I have to have open. So here, this paper is from Bo Bunny. That's like Enchanted Garden or something to that effect. This is one of the newer. So I use a glitter pen and I just outline it, and I fill in some of the circle. I outline the circles a little bit, even though you don't really end up seeing that much. Now, it's kind of hard to see, at least from my little screen, but it is kind of hard to see just from the pieces that I cut. There is some purple in it. So I will later be adding a few elements that have like purple in it. Like the one tab that I cut out was a piece of watercolor cardstock. So I end up deciding, oh yeah, I could just cover up the date with that. That's perfect. Then trying to fit it in underneath something. So here I'm just looking for pieces, you know, homemade or not homemade, because I did this tab also, and that is just a blue, like tone on tone dot, like a tealy color almost. So here's that purple tab that I watercolored that really went with the other. It's just a nice little pop of color amongst all the greens and the grays. So, I mean, even though there's the gold from the pineapple, but it just kind of adds something. So really, I'm just building on these two clusters. I'm not going to have 3 clusters, I know. Call the scrapbooking, please. But this layout really just needed 2 things that balanced each other. And that, I find, is the biggest thing when I try to do a layout on my own, or if I'm using a sketch and I change the sketch up, or I'm noticing on a sketch. I'm looking at where things balance. You know, why does a sketch have 2, or why does a sketch have 3, or, you know, how is the open space on the sketch, or, you know, on my layout? Do I have space? Do I have balance? Is it equal? You know, and sometimes I do really great, and sometimes I do really bad. So, and that's okay, because, you know, in the end, as long as you love it, or you learn something from it, because there's a lot of times that I just learn from my layouts. So here is a piece of Maggie Holmes. It's from the ephemera. No, it was a cutout, I think, from the cutout sheet. So I'm just looking. Those are chipboard pieces. So I looked through the Spice Market from Basic Gray. I had to think about that for a second. I got a chipboard pack because I don't own that much chipboard, and I thought that that would give some dimension and texture. So I do add that 3rd pineapple. So that is the only thing that I add 3 of. I just kind of thought it needed something else. Plus, it makes you think about pineapple when you see 3. And then you want to taste the yummy pineapple. I know I do. I'm looking at that pineapple and I'm hungry for pineapple. So I have this banner, and I have a hard time fiddle around with this one, because I'm just not sure exactly how I want. I don't want to cover up the picture too much, but I don't care if there's a little bit, because that first bit of grass that you see on the picture, it's just grass from the side of the road. I mean, yeah. So here I'm looking for some stuff. I have just bits and pieces of ephemera. Those flowers are from Fancy Pants, the burlap collection. I don't use it. I thought about it, but it's just a little too dark. The black doesn't really go with the gray, brown colors in it. So I do use that pop of red tag, and I don't know if I did it yet. Maybe I just did it. I put some hemp twine on it. I don't always have to have twine or like string on my tags, but sometimes it's nice. So I did add it to that one. So that is another texture. So I just use a few pieces of the chipboard from that collection. And here I finally commit to putting that piece down. Like, okay, I just got to do it. Sometimes you just got to do it. And let it go as it is, right? Sometimes if I can't, sometimes I think I overthink about, and maybe that's partly why this layout took a little bit longer, because I thought a lot about where I wanted it. But by the end, oh man, this one gets stuck, because that cardstock, the water paper cardstock, it was flipping up. So I wanted something to hold it down. So I thought, oh, I'll just use a glue dot. The glue dot did not want to stick. Guys, I was like, it took a while to get that piece down. So I decided to put those, it's like corners, I guess, but it was 2 different colors, and so I cut it in half and I use it for each of the corners. I really like how that brings everything in, because I really didn't want to back this on another piece. I don't know, I've been doing that a lot. So I add some of these word stickers from Jelly Bean Soup, I believe, is the company. And there's, I think it was just all from the one pack, like strawberry something. And one says sweet, one says sunripe, and one says fresh. So they all go with, and so as you can see, there's one pop of color. So I just try to add a few different pops of color. So here I'm going to use my new Mistable Thickers. And so here I realized, oh yeah, I need some. I decided to join the group of people who put their thickers on something else. I know. I hear, you know, that, yay, Hannah, you finally decided to do it. No. I really wanted something to put the thickers on that I didn't care if it got all funky. So here I use this one dauber, and this is orange. It's like marigold, or I don't know, something like that. And I realized, oh boy, that's just too orangey. It looks nothing like pineapple. That's yellow, orange maybe, yellow green, depending. So I decided, oh, maybe if I add some of this gold, it'll darken it up. It'll, I don't know, the gold will look more golden, but it doesn't work. So I had to try. Sometimes you just got to try those things. And I still use the thickers because I don't mind the color, that it's a little bit different. So I do use the green. So yeah, I set those off to the side. That's why it just cut out. That was bad editing. Sorry guys, I was slacking. So here I'm just putting more because I didn't have enough. I think I put more on again. So here I get distracted, and I was going to start my journaling. See, I think this is why it just took me so long. I just was like, I could not focus on one thing. It's like usually it hardly ever takes me 2 hours, but this week I had another layout that I did like the day before that I still have to edit. Don't even get me started on that, guys. I mean, oh my gosh. That's what I was trying to edit while I was doing this. And then I went back later to try to, or I was putting the videos on and I was going to edit it later. And I went back and it wasn't there, like the clips. So I used some of enamel dots, and I used some of those enamel like arrows next to the words, just so it kind of pops out the words. And I use mostly blue, I use some gold enamel dots, and I use a couple of purple. So here I'm doing my journaling, and my journaling says, I love the drive past the pineapple fields. It always smells so sweet. Even on a cloudy day, the view of the mountains is gorgeous. And let me tell you, those mountains spread out all the way. I mean, and if you keep going, you're going to end up going to the North Shore one way. If you keep going the other way, eventually you'll get to the highway that takes you towards the city. So, but it's pretty far away. The Dole Plantation is not near the city. It's like 20 minutes outside. So it's beautiful out there, I will say. It's less crowded, but it rains more there. So just because of all the mountains. Anyway, so here I'm just putting on my thickers, even though you can't see. I didn't realize I was cut off. And then I'm going to show you some close-ups, guys. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you guys for all your comments and your love. I so appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye, guys.